Hey, this is Notser, and once again, this is Project Cold War. And once again, I'm here talking about the game itself and also sharing some more information. This time, we're going to answer some common questions that Wargaming have had to answer. So I hope that this can answer any questions that might be lingering in this way. There are a couple exciting developments that are unique to Project Cold War that maybe potentially Wargaming could investigate for other titles that they manufacture. So the first thing, as we're driving to capture point A, this is Conquest, is this World of Tanks 2.0? And obviously, Wargaming understands this question. They make World of Tanks. This is a tank game. However, this is a tank hero shooter. So it's more of an expansion of the tank genre than necessarily a replacement. And that's true in the way that Wargaming answered in their response. Wargaming says, "We understand why you may think so, but no, Project Cold War is very much not World of Tanks 2.0. We have developed Project Cold War from the ground up in its own new engine to have unique gameplay and mechanics separate from what you may have experienced in games like World of Tanks or War Thunder. We hope that it will appeal to new and old Wargaming players alike." That's probably the most important clue to Wargaming's point of view. They hope that it will appeal to new and old players. And that's basically them saying that we realize and we recognize that World of Tanks is not for everyone. However, we do think that everyone who has ever played World of Tanks could potentially be a customer, and they would probably like to investigate that further. And one of the best ways that they can do that, obviously, is to make another tank game. And I tend to agree with their logic. I do think that World of Tanks is off-putting, and that it shouldn't be. However, they can't afford to change all of the mechanics that are off-putting for most players these days. It's just the reality of the situation. When it's a game as a service, the service has to continue. If you're going to abandon everything that you were successful with, then you lose your revenue stream and the game suddenly collapses. So it's a very high risk to make changes to a game as a service. It would be like changing the way milk is made, or cheese, or, bread. These are money makers. Why would I change the nature of this and then call it the same thing, right? So they're not going to call this World of Tanks or World of Tanks 2 because it's not World of Tanks. It's a very different tank game, one that I think is honestly more my speed. I can tell you as an adult, I do not enjoy video game maintenance. I think it's a waste of time. I don't understand why so many people are drawn to it. But I especially don't understand as an adult why I am required to pay like a service fee. I have to upgrade and pay for those upgrades because I can't just upgrade with XP. That doesn't prove that I'm invested. I need to also invest basically time, which is the soft currency, versus money, which is the hard currency. So either way, I have to invest time or money. And I just feel like, why? I'm investing a lot in just playing your game versus any other game. And I think companies are realizing that what they gain from a person participating is far more valuable than just seeing them as, a checkbook. Now, in this example here, notice I don't see the hit points of the targets. They're outside of my visual range in that way, but they're still drawn on the map. Now, I can get closer to verify what their hit points are at. However, that's not how World of Tanks is built, right? World of Tanks, the vision game, is far more binary. And because it's so binary, it's really frustrating because people turn on and off, and if this is a technique to communicate, you might obviously see the object, but you can't affect it really, then I think that's a fair change. And, you see it with smoke. When you're in smoke or out of smoke, it kind of deactivates the indication of the tank. You lose, like, the tank's armor profile, so you can't target it or you can't see the health. And God, this guy came from behind. Another question that Wargaming gets frequently is, when will the game be released? Wargaming's response is, we are currently in our alpha testing phase and don't have a clear release date yet. Once we have progressed through more tests and have a clear vision of what we want to change and improve, we will let everyone know about our release plans. And that's kind of what I get from this. This is a way to show a complete vision of what they envisioned for this game. Now, whether, players or they just figure out that, oh crap, something about our vision can be easily exploited, that will remain to be seen. And I think that's completely acceptable. I think the base that they're working off of is no less ready than, like Halo Infinite or Cyberpunk 2077, or name that modern title, City Skylines 2. Name the modern title that is quote-unquote ready for release, and I'll laugh at you because there isn't a single one in the last, 3 to 5 years. So, yeah, could it come out now? Could it come out in a year? Who really knows? I don't think that they will put a limit on how they can generate income to pay for the game. So whatever arbitrary date they set for full release versus beta or closed beta or open beta, it's really arbitrary. A game as a service starts generating revenue almost immediately whenever a player is presented with it, because it's one of the things that they also want to test. So they test it along the way, and they kind of ramp up their revenue, but they still get to iterate on a service. It's not complete, and obviously it never will be at this point. They just have a lot of changes they could add to every game, not just Project Cold War. Here is a point of view from the attacker, the Russian Soviet tank attacker with the rocket launcher ability. But yeah, I think that overall, I think the game's release date it's going to be arbitrary. I think at whatever time they decide, it'll be available for everyone to play. So closed alpha for Wargaming, I think, means that they're 6 months or 3 months from... I don't think they'll ever go into an open alpha. I think it will be closed alpha, and that's based on invitation. Maybe you can apply on their website. I'm sure if you look up Project Cold War, you can find their website. If you are obviously participating already, you probably will be able to participate whenever it's available. So, for me, example, whenever the server's up, I'll be able to play. So I can get my fix on this type of game mode if I want. Now, will there be a competitive scene? Who knows where this will go, obviously. We're just talking about release of the game. But in past Wargaming releases, like World of Tanks or World of Warships or World of Warplanes or, whatever. For World of Warships specifically, I remember being invited for closed beta. Closed beta happened after the alpha testing phase, which ironed out some weaknesses of the game. And I think that went 3 to 6 months. And then we were in closed beta for, I think, 6 months or a year. And then it went into open beta, and it stayed in open beta for a year or two, and then it finally was released. But through closed beta, through the whole process, I could spend real money and invest in my account, which of course means almost immediately they can generate income for the service, and they can decide how much they want to invest in this. All we know at this point, it's a tank game from Wargaming. They obviously have a huge amount of resources to make tank games because they're the best in the business at it. So, of course, they're going to be good at making another tank game. And since this is a hero shooter tank game, So think about it like this. This game kind of came from all of the April Fools, where, it shortens the time that the tank battling occurs, but it doesn't really sacrifice the tank combat. You don't ever want to sacrifice that. You just want to speed up the flow of battle, and that's kind of what they've done in this product. So I think they've done a good job of creating something different from World of Tanks, fixing a lot of glaring issues that have revealed themselves over time. Just the nature of games as a service, or just life in general. You're going to learn a better way to do things, or a more acceptable form of revenue generating. So yeah, it's, it is what it is. I think they're doing okay, and I think they're doing everything that they should be doing at this point for Project Cold War, and I don't foresee it never coming out, and I don't foresee it putting the brakes on, not letting people, enjoy it and play it. So yeah. Now, the only thing that is kind of a really exciting question that they answered for me personally. I never thought this was World of Tanks 2.0. And yeah, whenever the game is released, it's an arbitrary distinction. Whatever World of Warships release date is, I can promise you it was available for anyone to play for over a year before that date. So it's really arbitrary what release, beta, alpha, all of these values end up being. But one thing that isn't arbitrary, Wargaming was asked, will there be regional servers like in World of Tanks and World of Warships? These are servers where you join like an NA or Southeast Asia or a European, and it is a completely separate community that is regionalized. And in those games, you have to have a separate account for a separate region. So you can't have a fully progressed North American account, for example, and play on EU with some buds. That's not possible in World of Tanks or World of Warships. You have to progress two separate accounts completely. So will there be a regional server? Will regional servers work like they do in World of Tanks? Wargaming says, while we have regional servers for matchmaking purposes in North America and Europe, we only have a single realm in the game. Our matchmaker will always attempt to match you with players in your geographical location for the best game experience, but you can also play with friends from another region. In case you team up with a player from another region, the matchmaker will attempt to find you a match in the squad leader's region. So, there's not going to be an NA realm. There's not going to be a Southeast Asia realm. There's not going to be a European realm. There will be a Project Cold War realm. One and only. Everyone can play against each other if they so choose. And that's excellent. Now, how much granularity to selecting the server and the ping that will be acceptable, I don't really know. However, having it be a completely universal account structure is incredible, because all progression on one account can be applied and you can interact with friends across the pond or wherever you might be. It's an excellent improvement to this genre of games, and one that I would definitely welcome to at least my game, World of Warships, but World of Tanks as well. It's very annoying to have separate accounts for separate regions because they aren't, quote-unquote, on the same realm. That's all arbitrary. That's just annoying, and it's archaic at this point. Our time is valuable. Stop farming our time by making accounts separate for separate realms. This is kind of me ranting a little bit about World of Warships and World of Tanks. If you have the technology to do this, please just add it to all your games as soon as possible, because it's annoying. And let's be real, I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh no, I have 4 different accounts on 4 different regions. I would like to keep them completely separate. I would like to have 4 split progressions instead of one universal progression that I can then play on an EU server or a North American server. You know, kind of like every shooter that's ever existed. So yeah, it was always like a weird oddity that the realms separated your progression based on, you know, the server that you chose. And I completely am excited over this change. This is going to be the best change because it's just going to make it to where you can jump in and casually have fun, and there won't be as many roadblocks or maintenance or annoyances that can show up in games that have come out in the past, present, and, you know, future. We're not trying to make life harder. We're just trying to introduce mechanics that make life easier. And I think this is a great addition. One that... Can it come at tomorrow? Can it be in World of Warships today? I'm so happy that it is a universal account that you can then play on any server location. That's just great. And then, you know, if I want to play with an EUCC, let's say, if I want to play with an EUCC, let's Jingles. Jingles is playing some Project Cold War. I can theoretically add Jingles in my division, and then either I can be the squad lead or he can be the squad lead, and we can play on either my region or his region. So it's something that is impossible right now because he's on the EU region, I'm on the NA. The only way I can play with Jingles is if I play like a press account on EU or a completely separate account with separate progression, which is annoying for me. And then if he wants to play on NA, obviously the same would apply for him. So this is a great quality of life update, one that is going to go a really long way to making players feel like they are being heard. I don't know how hard it is to do this, but I really appreciate that they put the engineering time to implement it for at least this game. It's obviously going to be super successful, and look at these guys. Look at how much I can heal on the Titan as I'm retreating. I just need to wait out the damage over time. His rockets are landing above me, so if I'm not damaged, the heal over time will absolutely heal me fully. Such a great little escape there. Oh, I just want to highlight that. That was fun. I really enjoy the Titan for its heal. And yeah, those are, you know, great questions for Wargaming to address. If you have any questions that are lingering on this product, please write them in the comments and upvote the questions that you guys like the most. I will then take those questions and I will send them on to Wargaming. I have direct contact with a lot of the people involved with this product, so I can get questions directly from them, and we can create, you know, maybe a questionnaire too, where more lingering questions that weren't answered can potentially be answered through a video or something. So please leave in the comments a question that you would like answered, and maybe it will be answered in a future video, because I really do like the concept of this game. I played Overwatch, I played Battlefield, I love Conquest, so I love Infinite Spawn Conquest. I can play it for hours and hours and hours, so if I could just get that game mode in a tank game and everyone plays it, yes, I can do that. But yeah, I don't see myself not being invested in this. It's far more my speed than World of Tanks. I do like the historical aspect of World of Tanks, but I hate the crew, the gold ammo, and the sort of the maintenance of buying ammo and putting it on your tank, and, you know, how much ammo did I grab? Oh, I'm going to grab more premium ammo. Oh, I need more high explosive for whatever dumb reason, you know. There's so many quirks about World of Tanks in the economy and sort of the vehicle depot that it's just hard for me to be like, yes. But a game with the removal of gold ammo, the removal of the crew maintenance and more emphasizing the skills that you could potentially equip. Yes, yes, please. And then the regional change as well to make it even more enjoyable and less annoying. Yeah, I think they're going down the right route with this. This could be very popular, and it's using skills and resources that Wargaming have. And let's be real, Wargaming does the best tanks. They do the best at sort of the feel and flow of the combat. Not necessarily the every aspect, like I think obviously War Thunder's model for weather and the texturing and the size, they have some advantages to the design that they've chosen. But I do think that playing World of Tanks is really satisfying in some ways, and I'm glad that we get another World of Tanks type of tank game that we can choose to play. It's not only like 2 or 3 games. I think vehicle combat is really enjoyable. I'm glad people are catching on. It was like a wasteland forever. There was no tank game. There was nothing like ships. There was, aircraft. Infrequent. Aircraft did get the most love, and even submarines got more love than tanks and warships. But now, look at where we are. It's 2024, multiple tank games that are games as a service, so they never die, and we've got multiple naval games, multiple everything. It's excellent development. Thanks again for watching. Leave in the comments what you think, other than obviously asking a question. Is this something that is interesting you? And, what do you think of me? Do you think that you could see more content coming from me? Obviously, I'll be teaching and training whenever that's relevant. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.